Iron sharpening iron, hit a spark when we speak. Stronger together, yeah, we building each week. Each one reach one, now the whole world know. Big Jack story time, Walt talks, let's go.
All right, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack, and this is my man, Walt Talks. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if each one would reach one, we can all grow and glow. And I am super excited again today. Walt, we're back on the show, man. What's going on with you?
My man, what's happening, Big Jack? Just proud to say, man, I had another weekend of doing absolutely nothing, and I was 30 minutes late doing that, man. I don't think I moved my car.
Oh,
Yeah, I
man.
don't think I moved my truck, man. I really don't. I had a good time, man, doing nothing. Got some stuff done around the house, projects and shredding stuff, and just getting under. I don't like clutter, man. So I'm just trying to get rid of some clutter, man. It seems like every time I turn around, something I haven't touched in 3 years. So I've just been throwing stuff out all day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like if I don't touch it, I don't need it. Let it go. Yeah.
I got you. So I got a question for you because something to think about. Have you ever heard of the term "no pain, no gain"?
Yeah. It's kind of like let bygones be bygones. When somebody says let's let bygones be bygones, I can show you who passed the last lick. And when somebody says no pain, no gain, I can pretty much tell you who's not doing the exercise.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
That part right there. Yeah.
Now I remember when I was in school, my strength coach used to always say pain was weakness leaving the body. So it's like I have to be in pain to prove I'm strong. But is that true? Do you think that's true?
Hey man, things have changed since I was in school. I mean, what I see now, back then it was true, but things have changed. Just put it like that. What guys I know went through in school, they would never see their sons or grandsons or granddaughters or daughters go through it now. So yeah, it's a different game, man.
Right.
I mean, no blood, no foul. Get up, shake it off. And as a matter of fact, just on a closing note, I was looking at an old fight a documentary actually on Gerald McCullough and I want to say Nigel Benn back in like the early 2000s, man. And if you ever get a chance, it's kind of a tough story, but my man is blind and paralyzed, So it's just like, yeah, man, it's sports, man. Sports in general can be brutal. Boxing and MMA and all that's a tough one. And, I just think, man, you got to listen to your body. So you sign up for pain, but you still have to listen to your body because you got to think long-term damage. When you talk about was that CTE and all that in football, is that CTE? Yeah, you just gotta, you just can't do things the way they used to do. So you need a trained professional because most of those guys weren't even trained professionals. Most of the coaches back then weren't like professionally trained. They were doing their thing.
They just did it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the best guy in the neighborhood is now a coach. So that's what it is. Yeah,
that's true. So look, we got a guest today, and he's going to help us work through this out. He's going to help us work through this part right here. So I got you. Yeah.
Hey, man, always, I got to start remembering, man. You throw the hook out there, and I take the hook, but I don't know what's happening. So there we go. Okay.
Because he's going to help us. So we got a guest. He's going to come on. He's going to help us turn pain into progress. And that's like I don't, do I have to be in pain to move forward? But I'm a little confused. So I'm looking forward to our guest today. So if I'm there. I'm ready to hit the button to bring him on the stage. So you ready?
Yeah, I twisted my knee the other day getting up to go to the bathroom, man. So yeah, I'm ready though. Let's go. Let's do it, man.
All right, man. All right. But look, hey, let's bring our guest on the stage, and all you out there watching, thank you for tuning in to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. There he is, Coach Rob. How you doing? What's going on?
What is up, fellas? I'm so happy to be here tonight with you guys. Hopefully not going to twist any knees, though.
Hey, man, it's tough, Coach. You're getting old ain't for chumps, man. It's tough.
I know.
It's tough, man.
Oh, man. So, Coach Rob, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. Of course, I am Big Jack Storytime. This is my man, Walt Talks. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Facebook. And then once the show is over, we'll definitely make cuts and put it on Instagram and then sometimes people put it on TikTok. So with all that being said, welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. And,
hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
So I'm going to ask you one question. Can you please let us know a little bit about yourself? Share something.
So my name is Coach Rob. I am a 10-year Navy vet, former police officer of over 16 years. And I'm a man who had PTSD, depression, anxiety, anger issues, trauma on trauma on trauma, and realized that living that way wasn't the answer, right? So I had to find things that worked for me. I had to do the things to be better and be the best version of myself. And that's why we're going to talk today about turning pain into progress.
Right.
So turning pain into progress. And I thank you for your service. I want to give you that one
Absolutely.
right there. And you said too. U.S. Navy, right? U.S. Navy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will not hold that against you, but I want to say thank you for your service. I am an Army vet. So anybody know me know I'm an Army vet. But we know we all have our parts to do, and it's none of them are easy parts. Especially even, we look at the soldiers are right now on the battlefield. So just knowing that, much respect for everyone who has put the boots on the ground. And like I say, and it's not even about going overseas. Sometimes it's those who stay home. You got just as much work to do. And I know my man Walt's up here is a former firefighter. And that too is another service that someone has to do that's really about serving people. So that's all about all of our service that we've given to the world in one way or another. It's just to make people safe and give them a freedom of just knowing that they can survive. Okay. You also said that you was a former police officer, correct? I'm making sure I got that right.
Yes, sir. Almost of 16, 17 years total.
Was that in the military? You was in the military?
That was 7 years Navy. Okay. 10 years federal. So, and then like a couple months local, but mainly federal. Veteran Affairs Police. I actually was a police officer for Veterans Affairs and for the Department of Defense.
Okay. All right. So we got a similar path. I got to talk to Coach Rob a little bit more. Excuse me, because I was military police when I was in Army. So that was how I finished up and got to travel around the world as a police officer, which is pretty cool. So, when you go to foreign countries and I think Korea, when I was in Korea as a police officer, and then Somalia as a police officer. But at the same time, it's a different duty, because then, Walt, if you don't know, because you're watching out for the soldiers and you're watching out for the civilians. So that makes it a little tougher because, you got to keep your eyes on the civilians. So if they come on base and things like that. But a lot of times I remember being in Korea, going off of the base, going on to the civilian world, basically in the country, to get our soldiers back and bring them back on the base. Because
I did that in Japan. I lived in Japan for 3 years. So same thing, having to work with the Japanese nationals and deal with civilian side of the thing, because our base, essentially, you are the county or local police department there. So dealing with everything from domestic violence to theft to everything a normal police officer would do, just on a military installation.
On a military, yeah. So that was one of the hard parts. And then, and I don't know if you had that issue, Coach Rob. I did, but when I was in Korea, I had to have what they call a katusa, which is more like a national, Korean national soldier assigned to the United States. They would go out there with me. Yeah, they would go out with me because they would have to translate. We're in this, because I could tell you, they might speak English, but when they're in trouble, they can't speak English anymore. So I needed somebody that could speak to them, because I'm like, tell him I said put his weapon down. So so it's it got a little shaky out there. And one of the big things I noticed, and we're just sharing as we're talking, Rob, was that there's a difference in respect. So if that person that we were dealing with was older, my Katusa was younger, he wouldn't speak to him in a harsh way, because that was his elder. It wasn't like, no, I have to respect him. I'm like, I need him to put that down. I don't care how old he is. He put that down. So, but he's like, but the one thing that blew my mind is I was asking, we was in a vehicle accident. Not we, but there was a vehicle accident, and we're trying to sort out the pieces. And they were all speaking in Hangul, which is in Korea, Hangul. And I asked him, I say, tell him to speak English. And so my Katusa was like, you speak Hangul. And I was like, very good point. Very good. I cannot speak the language, so we're going to have to work it out. So we calmed everything down and got it straight. So I don't know if you ran into any situations like that fan and all, but yeah, I can imagine. 100%.
Yeah, we worked closely with Japanese police, and then we had our own translators and stuff. Like if an American got in an accident out in town with a Japanese national, we'd have to drive out there and do everything, the paperwork, take the pictures. So yeah, definitely been there.
Oh yeah. So that's where it gets challenging on the military side, because
I can imagine.
again, you're dealing with the nationals, you're dealing with your soldiers, you're trying to make sure and the military itself has its own law, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So it's like everything just like you don't see it on things you don't see on TV. I watch a lot of TV shows and with that I don't see too much crossing over and like. But anyway, Rob, thank you. So now you did mention those 3 letters that a lot of people, 4 letters right there, PTSD, that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They don't even realize it's going on. So if you don't mind, can you share a little bit about what you think was your cause for your PTSD and give me some background on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of things, as we go in the military, not everybody has an easy time. My first few commands, before I learned the value of lifting weights and being strong and fighting back, I used to get picked on a lot and bullied. Like I actually was bullied on the ship. I was assaulted multiple times. I was threatened to be thrown overboard on my first career path in the military. Some very scary things that when you're, 20 years old, you're not really ready for. And then and maybe you have had this too from the Army, I've lost so many friends to suicide, so many friends to suicide, or from war, or from, whatever accidents, because we numb the pain with alcohol or drugs or whatever. So that gives you that survivor's guilt. So that's, a lovely, fun thing to have. And then, you get injured. A lot of us get injured, and I didn't get to do my 20. So I was angry about that. I was frustrated about that. I would take that out on everybody else. And then, of course, we talked about being a police officer. You go to a domestic and you see a kid that's gotten molested or abused or beaten or things that normal people typically shouldn't see. And when you see that stuff over and over and over again, and you compound everything together, eventually you blow up and you become a very miserable, disgruntled person.
Yeah, that now that you mentioning that, it's a lot of things that we think that PTSD, especially when you're talking military, is on the battlefield. Like you were on the field and you saw a lot of this. But as an officer, now that you're mentioning that, I'm like, wow, these things just went right over the top of my head until you said it. The things that you see in a day out, because I've seen some horrible stuff that you don't even think about. Is like how could someone do that to their child, especially to their kids, and some of the stuff you saw, and it's like, what is wrong with you? Because I mean, just throwing a little, not trying to trigger anything, but it's now triggering everything in my head. But I've seen some whack stuff that you're sitting there like, and I know, Walt, as a firefighter, you too, definitely have seen some crazy stuff. And you just don't think that could be a trigger. But I appreciate you saying that, because that right there just brought to my memory, yes, you've been through that. So now I didn't have, of course, I wasn't on the ship because I was in the Army, but I didn't have the bullying, I don't think. But you think it was more like hazing, like trying to get you into the. So that's what it was.
So my first ship at the time when I went in the Navy in 1997, they didn't have females integrated with males on ship. It was just all males. And so you can imagine you're on this. I was on a destroyer, which is a smaller ship. I always tell people it's kind of like being in prison, right? The biggest guy ruled the house. They had, the little cliques of people who would support each other. And if you didn't fit in their format, well, guess what? They were going to make sure to haze you. And I remember one night, this is crazy. I'm sleeping in my rack and they pull me out of the rack. So on the ship, where you sleep is called a berthing. It's where they have a bunch of bunks all stacked up and they call the bed a rack. I get pulled out of my rack and thrown on the table in the berthing, and they just start beating the shit out of me. And it was like, oh, this is your initiation. And, once again, 20, never been subject to that, kind of grew up middle class, was a student athlete, was kind of popular. And then now I'm like the joke of the military. That's a big culture shock to somebody at that age.
Yeah. And it ain't like you can just say, I'm done and I'm leaving. Right. I'm quitting.
No, you signed the dotted line. You're in.
Yeah, that was and it's funny, and none of it's as funny, and I say funny because it's I guess the term I use, but it's like people thought that was normal. They thought
Right.
that was like, you know, that's how I'm gonna make you a man by beating
Mhm.
you up, and that didn't make you nothing. It made you bitter, and it
Definitely.
made, like you say, and then like you say, who can I trust, and you know, and also can make you angry to the point is like, wait till the next person come, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my revenge on the next private that walks in the door, or 20-year-old that walks in the door. Go ahead, Walt. I see you picking.
You know, was funny, and you guys could probably relate to this too. I noticed, you know, I belong to a few organizations that, you know, got kind of physical, but I also noticed that the guys who didn't take the heat were the guys who were trying to give out the most abuse to the next guy, to the guys behind them. The guys
Yeah.
that really took it, I'm like, it's a mental thing, you know. You want to, but I've just never been of the mindset that you just get to beat me, and then my life depends on you after that. You know, and like I had a cousin in the Navy. I guess when you cross the equator, that's a big ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And but yeah, man, you know, basically, man, it's just a bully mentality no matter where you go. And a lot of those guys probably got to the military because they were nothing in their hometowns, you know.
Yeah,
So
how
I'm
many
glad
times,
glad you
how
figured
many
it out.
times do you guys hear about people that basically it's either go to the military or go to the jail, you
Yeah,
know?
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
The
yeah,
military is full of criminals
yeah,
and
yeah,
bad people. It's not always the nicest,
yeah.
most, welcoming people. So,
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
a lot of times it's the people that you would have turned to say that you was having problems, that's like the initiator of the problem, because it's like
yeah.
the higher
They're the
rankers,
leader.
you
Yeah.
know, they're like, I know I can't go to anybody because the people that's doing it. No different than getting promoted. It was like a punishment for being promoted,
yep,
because when they pinched you or gave you your rank, they blood ranked you. So they
yep.
put the rank on your collar and then punched them into your chest so that
Mm,
the pins would go in. So you got
mm,
blood ranked. And it's like, well,
mm.
I'd rather not be promoted if I got to get stabbed to take the rank. But it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like, come on, you got to be tough. You got to be this. And I'm like, that doesn't look. Again, student athlete, college athlete, Division I college player, squatting 700, benching 400. I don't need you to punch me to make me tough. I'm coming in. I came in. Look, Rob. I went in the military at 250. I came right
Oh,
off the
wow.
football field into at 250, and as my man say, Walt would say, cut like a bag of dope.
Cut like a
I
bag of
was
dope.
cut. It was cut up, bro. It wasn't. They couldn't find the fat. It was just like, good gracious, dude, what are you
Oh
doing
man.
here? And I'm like, I just came off of the Division I college football field, and this is my next step. And but you still had to go through. You still was,
Yeah.
drill sergeants was punching on you and not trying to get you to turn your ways, and I guess in a sense. But wow. So, oh man. So was it hard once you put the uniform away? So I know you said you had military, and then you went into federal law enforcement. So what was the big change for you with that, from military to federal law enforcement? How was that change for you?
That part honestly wasn't hard. What was hard was just originally, once again, it was just taking the trauma from one job to the next,
Mm,
because as a man, my father, we grew up this era where our dads, they didn't know what mental health was. They didn't know what, PTSD was. It was just, you suck it up and you keep going and you do what you have to do. And if you're sad, oh well, you don't show emotions, right? I don't remember my father really showing emotion until the day I told him I joined the Navy. That was the only time in my entire life I ever saw this man cry originally. So, now that he's older, he's getting a little bit better with his emotions, but you
mm-hmm.
just didn't show emotion. So transitioning, because I was already a police officer, that part was easy. And you're going from government to government, from paramilitary organization to paramilitary organization. The problem was not dealing with the anger and the depression and the hopelessness of like, man, I felt stuck. I felt really stuck and kind of pigeonholed into, this is my life. This is what I have to do because I don't know anything else. And that's a problem with a lot of young men that get out of the military that don't get a chance to retire, because most of the time when we pick a job in the military, it's easier just to go from that job to that job that we did in the military, whether it's, plumber or a mechanic or engineer. But what if you hate that job? What if you don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
that? Like, most of us don't say, oh, well, I'm going to go back to school or I'm going to do a trade school. We just go right into that job and just be miserable. So that's kind of where I was at with that.
Yeah, and I think my biggest depression, I would say, coming out of the military was the reality that everything costs. Like when I was in the military, my rent was paid. You know, my food was paid for. They gave me my uniforms. I didn't pay for anything. And then when I got out, like, wait a minute, you got to pay mortgage. You got to pay rent. The light bills are due and the cable is due and this and that. So I was like, they didn't prepare me for the reality that once I got out, that it's going to. So now you got to find, like you say, find a career, find a real job and fend for yourself in a sense. You know, no one's going to pay your bill for you and this and that. And that was one of the things I wasn't prepared for. I know when I got out. My first job coming out of the military was I went into corrections. I went into corrections as an officer, and I was in a maximum prison, a maximum state prison in West Virginia. And my salary, and I would throw this number out there, and people know if I said $18,120, $18,120 a year was my salary, and
what
that
year was
that was in 1980, no, 1990, 99. 98,
okay.
99. And that was a raise from what I was getting in the military.
Yeah.
So, and I thought I was doing some good stuff. And I'm like, whew, good gracious. So that was one of the hardest parts for me. Now, Rob, you said your dad showed emotion when you joined. So I got to ask, was it because you joined, happy that you joined, or sad that you joined? Because I know a lot of parents.
I think it was happy because he got my ass out of the house. So to paint a picture, you know, in high school athlete, I took a year off college, but I was so good as a track athlete that they still gave me a scholarship full ride to college. So I go to college. I grew up in California, and I get to a college where there is 2.5 girls or women to every man. And me not giving a crap about anything else was chasing females and not paying attention to school. I get kicked out academically. My dad, you know, is trying to foot the bill for certain things, my car, gas. And every day for 6 months, this man comes to my door, kicks open my door to the point that I think at the end of the 6 months, my door was physically broken, and says, join the Navy, and then walks out to his business to go start his day for work. He did that every day. And my dumb butt, as a knucklehead kid, like, oh, I'll show you, Dad. So I go down to the recruiter and I sign up, and he got exactly what he wanted. So,
oh man, and so did the recruiter. So did the recruiter. A madman coming in. Oh yeah, no doubt.
They saw me coming a mile away.
Yeah, he saw you coming a mile away, Rob. He sure did, Coach.
That's crazy that you're saying that, Rob. Because I remember being in. Because I went to a Division I school when I first full scholarship Division I. Wasn't getting the playing time that I was looking for, so I got a little upset and said, hey, I'm transferring. So I transferred to a smaller school so I can get that playing time that I'm looking for. The coach that got me to transfer over, he got fired after the first year. So now I'm stuck at the school with a new coach, and me and this coach didn't get along at all. So we did not get along. So one day he had us out there practicing 5 o'clock in the morning. We used to practice at 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody should get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do anything.
Not as a college student anyway.
Yeah, right. In college. So I'm like, I didn't even know the sky was really purple. It's turned purple between the dark and the light. So I'm like, okay. So, and one day we're out there, it's cold. I'm in West Virginia. It's cold up on the mountain practicing. I'm a running back. So I get, somebody hits, you know, making tackle, hit my hand, and fingers all cold and hurting, and I'm upset. So me and the coach is down face to face. And I'm like, if I wanted to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd join the Army. And he was like, well, join the Army then. And I just walked right down the hill, went straight to the recruiter and joined the Army. And that's how it happened. Yo.
Damn,
that's exactly how it happened. So, yeah.
Very
oh, man. You guys got parallel stories for sure, man.
Yeah, but and so I'm like, hey, so, and that's how I got in. So yeah, so that's definitely, but the mental illness. So I see you say turning pain into progress. So how is this possible? Explain this to me, please.
So a lot of times when I talk about pain into progress, it's not necessarily physical pain. It's anything that causes you discomfort in life, because you have to be comfortable in being uncomfortable, because that's where the growth happens. No matter where we're on life, anything worth doing, there's going to be some sort of pain point. And if you can lean into that pain point and not let that defeat you, you're going to be better for it.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's
100%.
That is good, because like I say, we opened up the show excuse me, talking about, excuse me, no pain, no gain, and pain is weakness leaving the body, and we make it sound like you have to be in pain to
Right.
prove that you're strong.
Nope.
Like if you're not in pain, then you're weak, and I think a lot of us take that same motto or same saying into the mental world. We take that like, I got to prove that I'm strong, so I got to suck it up and take this pain instead of looking for help or asking someone to get me out of this. So is that something that you do, Rob? Or you say, I see Coach Rob. So what are we coaching? Are you coaching me out of this pain, or what's going on?
So I am a men's, well, I consider myself an elite strength coach. I've been doing strength and conditioning for a very long time. And I train men 35 and over through fitness, mindset, and discipline. Now, fitness is the key pillar of my system because when we move the body, we start to feel better. We start to look better. We start to have better emotional regulation. We can combat stress. We can help with longevity. Like fitness is the foundation to everything, but then the discipline to put in the work and do what we have to do to be successful, and the mindset to be able to still go through these tough times because life is tough and be able to overcome these adversities that we have. So it's a 3-pillar system that any man that typically feels like, hey, maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm not the man I said I would, because we know, around 35, 40, we settle, right? We settle in that job. We settle with our marriage. We settle with our kids. We don't start thinking about improving ourselves because as a man, you're like, oh, well, that's selfish. No, it's selfish not to improve yourself. Right. Because when you improve yourself, you're going to be a better father, be a better husband, be a better man. So that's what I work on, primarily strength and conditioning, to start getting that person, that man's mind right and back in place to feel powerful, strong, and purposeful again.
Wow, now that's pretty deep. Now, so is this like for me to get help from you, I would have to join the gym, or I mean,
no, I do. So I do online national, and then I do in home here in South Florida where I'm at. It all starts with a strategy call. You just go to my website, you book a call. You have some forms you have to fill out that tells me like how serious you are and what kind of things I need to, look for when we have our discussion. And then if you're right fit, we start a 12-week program and we get after it.
What and type of this? No, I'm sorry. Well, it's just for men, so there's no.
Yeah. I'm from like, without getting into religion, but like God has led me to. I need men to be strong again. I think we're in a society where men have been told to be weak. If you look at TV, the dad's always a goofball. He's always stupid. He always is making mistakes and having accidents, and everybody says, oh, toxic masculinity, and tells men not to be strong. No, men need to be strong more than ever. So I am specifically led for men at this point in my life.
No, and I can respect that, and thank you for sharing that insight for us. And Walt, I see you had a question. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask. So your workout, is it strengthening? Is it weight training? Is it calisthenics? Is it what type of strength? Body weight? What type of?
Yes. Well, it depends on the individual. I mean, if you have injuries, I'm going to have to work around those injuries. I work on your nutrition. I'm certified in nutrition, certified in peptides. So it's a total approach, primarily strength training, meaning training with weights, because as we get older and we start to lose muscle mass, that's where we start to have those injuries. For myself being 49, as I get, in the late 50s, 60s, I want to be able to walk upstairs still. I want to be able to have that mobility. So strength training is the key, but then the conditioning part is like full body workouts, body weight workouts. Maybe if you like boxing or some sort of combat sports, whatever we can fit in there. It's a full body workout, usually 2 to 3 times a week, and then a couple conditioning cardio workouts, because essentially it's like I train you like an athlete, because I don't understand, right? At our age, why can't we train like an athlete? Why do we give up, training like that? Because when you train like an athlete, now you're taking care of the complete body and you're able to, like I said, be more powerful, lose that fat, have more muscle, build that longevity, and hopefully have a longer lifespan.
So speaking of athletes, do you find that 35 to 40-year-old former athlete is a tougher client, so to speak, because those are the guys that swore would never happen to them? I know, like I play golf, Jack and I play golf, And man, it's like the athletes die hard on the golf course, man, because they still are trying to be that competitor that they were, not realizing it's you against it's you against you. It's the
Yeah.
man in the mirror, and some of these guys have this skill set has identified who they were for so long that they will do anything, to avoid from being someone other than the guy everyone knows them as the winner, the greatest guy, the best guy. And it brings out a lot of things, man. So what's your story? I mean, you didn't pick 35 out of the sky. So clearly we've all, and I'm 62, so we've all been at 35. We know around that time, right, guys start to settle. Guys start to
Well,
settle.
I think it's just hard being a man. We have so much weight on our shoulders, so much weight in the world, especially if you're a father or you have kids, you have all this responsibility. And, if you're, in my opinion, like a true man, you want to protect, provide, and preside for your family.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of work. So
Yes.
athlete or not, I played soccer for 8 years. I played basketball for 7 years. I was a nationally ranked track and cross country runner. And even in the gym, sometimes I'll stack those plates and I'm like, oh, wait, we got to slow down. It's about that ego, right? So sometimes we have to check that ego out a door. And that just goes with a simple conversation and realizing that while lifting heavy is awesome and it's amazing, sometimes that's not always the best answer. And if we have to scale back, we have to scale back. But as long as we're doing the work and we're lifting some sort of weight, then we're going to be better for it.
Right, some type of strength training, because as you get older, man, you start losing the muscle mass, testosterone, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, so
it's all downhill, right?
That's pretty, Hey man, it's hey man, I'm telling you, it's weird. It's weird now as far as providing and protecting. If we are really good providers and good protectors, our loved ones should have no idea how much we really go through to make that happen, right? Can we agree with that?
Oh yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like how much we observe, how aware we have to be to really protect and provide for our families. It just drives me.
I would imagine for you being a firefighter and you being a military veteran, like, and former corrections officer, we're all hyper vigilant, like all the time.
Oh man, yeah,
all the time.
Yeah. And it's weird, man, because that's the way. That's how you're built. You're trained that way. You see things coming, and it's not about always being the biggest, the baddest, the strongest. Sometimes it's just being the most observant. That keeps you out of trouble and keeps you safe, man. So, yeah, I still practice that kind of stuff. I still play these games with myself to make sure that I kind of like don't, even though I know I'm not who I used to be, relatively speaking, I try to keep my edge, man. You have to, because if your gut, your instincts, if they're telling you something, danger is coming instinctively long before the danger comes close to you. That instinct, you get that gut feeling, that's it.
And I can give you guys a real world example. So a couple weeks ago, I was out with my wife and my son. I have my son every other weekend. My wife is his stepmom, and we went down to Miami to go to like a museum and then go get some lunch. And we're getting ready to go home. And I see this guy, like he has 1,000-mile-yard stare. He has dirty clothes. He kind of has his head down. But the weirdest thing, he had this big flathead screwdriver in his hand and he was clenching it probably as tight as I've ever seen someone tight. Like it wasn't for work, put it this way.
Right.
So as we're walking towards him, I can't go across the street. There's traffic. I have to go towards him. I purposely positioned my wife and kids on the other side of me and was like, well, if he's going to do something, I guess I'm going to have to take the hit. And dude wouldn't even look at me. Now, luckily he walked by. I hope to God that, he didn't hurt anybody, but that spidey sense was tingling and I had a duty to act. I had to.
Yeah. I mean, it's just little things like that, man. And I guess in this day and time when everybody's walking around with their phones down, with their head in their phone, it's like, come on, man. Or just little simple stuff. And this has nothing to do about being physically fit, with just situational awareness.
Yeah.
You ever walk down the aisle of the grocery store and you see a woman 2 carts away from her purse in the cart?
All the time.
And I'm walking down the aisle and I'm like, miss, your purse, please secure your purse. Or I'm in line behind somebody and the purse is wide open. I mean, it's like, and people think that haven't been in public safety think man, who thinks like that? You know, who does that? I'm like, yeah, you know, clearly not you.
Right.
To
So
us,
it's
it's
nice
common
to be able to
sense,
hear
right?
this. It's nice to be able to have this conversation with some guys who get it.
Yeah.
And you notice that the guy that's sitting behind the desk that may not have been in a job that requires him to be super physical, I'm sure he really appreciates that piece that you bring, because that's a big deal, man. That's every man should know how to fight and defend himself and protect his family. 100%.
And Walt, what you would,
yeah.
and even what you just said, I was thinking on that because of the fact that when the way we think, even when we go to a restaurant, go to a store, it bleeds off to your family. Because my wife starts thinking like that. My kids start thinking like that, to the point they won't sit at a table that takes away my seat from sitting at the table.
Exactly.
So they already know that's my seat.
My wife doesn't even have to ask. She's always on that other end. Yep.
Yeah, they already know that's his seat, so don't mess with it. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was telling me, like, to meet her for coffee. This is years ago. And I met her at the Starbucks. I think at the time I was doing like a network marketing deal. And we walk into Starbucks together, and I always, you know, like the door test in the Bronx Tale, I always also use the seat test. And even though I'm, you know, she wasn't anybody that was dating or anything, I just wanted to see, as a woman, where she would sit, right? And I messed with her to this day. I said, you know, till you figure that out, not a lot of men gonna come knocking on your door, because any man that, and I said allows. She said, what do you mean allows? I said, just think about it. I'm in this position. I'm supposed to be protecting you. How can I protect you with my back to the door?
Yeah.
You know, and we're just friends. And she says, I never thought like that. And I said, well, there you go. Because again, that's a real thing. That's part of just becoming a man. Those are some of the things, some of this life skills that we just learn as men coming up. And a woman appreciates that, you know? Yeah.
And I'll do you one better. Even when I go to the store, I put my wife on the inside closer to the cars than the outside in case the car comes flying down the street.
Absolutely.
No,
you know,
that's legit. That right there is legit. That's a
going
way to
up
think.
The stairs, the escalator, all that. You got to figure it out. Down. Yeah.
But sometimes we don't. And like I say, I'm looking for that person that's sitting across that table from me, and I'm looking not just for myself, but I'm looking for you. But the thing is, are you looking for me? So when they're sitting there, if you took that seat, are you going to be worried about what's coming up behind me?
Right.
Because even within, and Rob, you know, and both of y'all would know because you was in those type of atmospheres. But I would look a person in their eyes just to see the reaction. Because I know something behind me, because I'm looking at your eyes glow up like, so what is this going on behind me?
Yeah.
But don't turn around. No, I'm turning around. Don't tell me don't turn around. I want to see what it is before it get to me. I ain't gonna wait.
And you know, being a firefighter, man, I'm all, you know, going in the exits, looking at the exits, and then when you go in these convenience stores, you know, you're supposed to be able to exit, and this is getting too deep into the fire stuff, exit the building without key or special use and knowledge, right? So a lot of convenience stores will close a door to slow you down enough when you're trying to steal to get out of there. But of course, if it's an establishment, at least in DC, if they're open for business, the door is supposed to be open, you know, fully open. So, you know, that's like the first thing going in. But out of habit, what do? Most people are right-handed. People usually go to the right door. A lot of times they'll lock that door just to slow you down getting out of the store. So and people like, you're retired. Why do you think like that? I'm like, oh man, I can't explain. Hey, look, if I have to have this conversation with you, clearly I
just
can't
don't
have
need
this
to know.
conversation. I can't have this conversation. The fact that we having this conversation tells me I cannot have this conversation with you. I mean, that's just what it is. Yeah.
So I'm with you. So Rob, how now do you ever, and this is a question I'm asking because I don't know, do you ever recover from PTSD? Do you ever get better at it? Or how do you face the fact that you had a mental illness in a sense, PTSD, or as a man, how do you face that? And do you ever recover?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, obviously occasionally I still have bad days. That's just the nature of the beast, right? But trying to be that 1% better every day and having more good days than bad, that's where it's at. And there's something I've been learning a lot about lately. They call PTSG, personal trauma growth. And that's basically growing from your trauma, using that not as a bad thing, because a lot of people, it happened in the past. Why am I still, dwelling on the past? And the most amazing, beautiful thing that I learned, like, if you can flip this switch in your mind, if I say I have depression or I'm sad, what happens? I have depression, or if I'm sad. If I say I'm happy, if I say I'm powerful, if I say I'm hopeful, I have all those things. So what we actually speak out into existence, our brain, our subconscious, that really works like that. And so when I started trying to, so basically I was married for 20 years. I was married for 20 years, but I always tell everybody it was 60-40, 60% my fault, my anger issues, my depression, my self-worth, and then 40% of what my wife didn't give to me. And one thing my ex-wife used to say is, I don't know how to help you. Well, my current wife, we've been together 8 years, married for 2. She always says, how can I help you?
Right.
That's such a big shift and difference right there. So as I was messing up and still being angry Rob and sad Rob, I'm like, I don't want to lose this woman. This woman is like, this is my woman. She was put here for me. This is why I went through, 20-year, almost a 20-year marriage, so I could get to her. So I knew I had to change things. And I tried medication. I still go to talk therapy. Fitness obviously helps. The speaking, powerful things into the universe and not talking about negative works. But 2 other things, emotional regulation. So the one thing that veterans, first responders, doctors, these people that we see all these horrible things, we're not taught how to deal with that horrible situation. And, I would go home, I would be, I see something bad. I'd go home with my first marriage and be like, why didn't you cook dinner? Or why didn't you do this? And it's not because I was mad at her. I didn't know how to deal with the crap I just saw. Right. So I had to learn that simple things, right? Someone cuts you off. What's the first thing you want to do? You want to cuss them out. You want to honk. You want to yell. You may want to chase them down and flip them off. I just, if I feel like that thing's coming on where I'm about to flip out, I just take that breath, take that pause, and be like, well, I guess they need to get to where they're going faster than where I am.
Right.
I didn't get in an accident. It didn't hinder my day. I'm okay. And that's really kind of big what I'm into now when I'm teaching guys how to deal with this stuff. What's the difference between a minor inconvenience that we let go big into stress or what's actual real stress? And you'll notice that most of the things in your life, it's just inconvenience. It's not really things to get mad about. And that right there can really change someone who's going through these kind of mental health issues.
Yeah, we suffer more in our imagination, and it's not even the act that gets us; it's what we perceive the act to mean. Or you must think I am fill in the blanks, and once we get past that, and for me, man, because I've been there, trust me. Well, 2 things. One, public safety guys, we laugh about it, we joke about it,
but we don't deal with it.
But we don't deal with it when we're amongst ourselves, 100%. But the other thing is, it's like this person, like when I see people, I'm not going to let this person get in front of me. He's driving crazy. Like, why would you want the crazy driving person behind you?
Like, why? Yeah.
Why not just let him go,
let
man?
Him go. Exactly.
And see now, but the humbling thing for me in real time is I'm a motorcycle guy. And on a motorcycle, everybody's
more dangerous.
Enemy. Everybody's the enemy, man. So, I can't just be mad. Excuse me, guys. I can't just be mad and kick the car. I mean, I'm at a disadvantage here, right? So it teaches you patience. Like, one, I'm not going to be in someone's blind spot, right? I am more aware and in tune with what's happening. So, but if you live your everyday life like that, back to situational awareness, sometimes you get mad at yourself because you knew this idiot was going to do an idiotic thing, and you kind of get frustrated with yourself. Your frustration sometimes just come from yourself, like, not with this guy, but like, why the hell did I saw this idiot coming. Why did I engage this? And then you just gave them what they want. So it's crazy, man. But I do know when I work out, I feel better. And I'm not a big, like workout guy, but I try to keep it moving every day, at least 35, 45 minutes.
That's the key.
I just notice I sleep better, I feel better. And when I don't, I feel it. Like the day I ate all day, I had to get up and throw the dumbbells around in the kettlebell for about 35 minutes a day because I just felt like I hadn't done anything, man. I just felt terrible. So yeah. So man, good for you.
Yeah. So Rob, I'm curious on this because you was in the law enforcement, world, military, federal, civilian, law enforcement. Knowing that you had some of the mental illness challenges, did it make it difficult for you to do your job? Because you faced a lot of different things. So, you got a trigger could pop up in any call that might trigger something else. Go ahead.
I was lucky, and I'd like to say, besides, there's always like just one bad apple that makes law enforcement or first responders look bad, right? Or the military look bad. I say for the most part, we all deal with this stress, and we get so locked in on that call that if you have that, I'm going home and I'm not going to be a victim. Like once you're locked in, no, I was always very gifted for being very professional. They teach us when I was a police officer, it's presence, then verbal, and then, the ladder of force. Yes. My presence was always spot on. And my verbal was, I was going to respect you as long as you respected me. Right. And most of the time, even if somebody was going to get arrested, but I respected them as a man or as a woman or as a person, I had a better issue of making that arrest and getting them to jail safely and going home safely versus I'm a police officer, you do what I say or else. So it was my training and how I did hold myself to a very high standard that I didn't really get frustrated when bad stuff happened. It was more about protecting the people and protecting myself. So,
and you have to hold yourself, but your colleagues accountable, because I can't even mention the times I'm on a call and I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, I got it, man. Go sit in the truck, because it's making the whole situation worse. But let me ask you this: like, respect begets respect, right? Period. That's just what it is, man. So, do you feel that people who are take better care of themselves physically and mentally are less stressed? I mean, it's a connection right there. I mean, like just taking a walk around the block, just taking, you don't have to go running, man. Just taking a walk in nature, man. Go stick your feet in the grass. It's like, man, you realize that, man, life is just so precious and it's just so good and it's so temporary. Definitely. So, hey, man, I know you. Are you involved with any support groups, anything that you help other guys get through where you are or get to where you are, should I say?
As my business grows, I will, or I am looking to do initiatives for first responders where hopefully I can go to departments and talk to them about, emotional regulation. My whole mission with my version of a tough man may be different than the typical tough man. First of all, it's obviously being in shape, eating healthy, taking care of your family and responsibilities, but it's being vulnerable when you need to. And being vulnerable means that if you need help, if you're not okay, that's okay. You need to get that help so you can be, like I said, that better husband, that better father. And even now, like I'm not on medication, my mental health issues are very stable. I still see a therapist. I still talk about my problems. If I'm having a bad day, the one thing I don't understand in marriages and men, communication. There's just no communication. I am so honest and brutal and communicative with my wife. I don't remember the last time we've had a major freaking argument. We might argue about silly stuff, but after that 2 seconds of arguing, we're fine. And we talk about it because I communicate. Babe, I am not okay today. Can you please give me just 5 minutes?
Right. Give me 5 minutes.
And then we'll talk all you want.
Yeah.
And you have to do that.
I mean,
so
all
Rob,
across
I'm asking you this
America,
because Rob, I'm gonna ask you this because of the fact that you're saying this is your second marriage. So your first marriage, did you learn that for your second marriage, where communication is the key, and I need to be wide open and willing to share that, because that's what I want to share for anyone that's listening, and all our listeners out there, especially men that's dealing with this. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to say I need some help, and it's okay to open up to your spouse and all. And let them know that I'm hurting. And also, I need a space. I just need space. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. But be willing to talk to them when the 5 minutes and 10 minutes is up. You can't be 5 minutes, 10 minutes and hold it in, because if anybody's wife is like my wife, she going to want to know when the 5 minutes and 10 minutes is up. You know what's going on.
You
So
said
you said 5 minutes. So with that being said, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but if you do have women listen, if a man
Mm-hmm.
ever says, just give me a few minutes, just give that man a few
Yeah.
minutes. Don't badger him, don't berate him. He's probably going through a lot. You don't know what he saw, what he dealt with, who gave him some bad news. Give that man some time to cool down, respect that, and I guarantee you he's going to be more apt to want to talk to you and fix that problem versus having an argument and blowing up.
But not only that, and this goes for men and women, but I'm going to say to women because I'm a man, you cannot weaponize a man's emotions and expect him to treat you the same way down the road.
Exactly.
Because he will never, ever forgive you for that. Never.
Yep.
I mean, you may not even know it, but the weaponization of a person's feelings, you can't do that. That's dirty pool, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as asking for help, like as men, we understand that there's an amount of respect, and Jack, you can speak on this more, and Rob, you know, of course you had guys in jail, but Jack, you worked in a prison. Hey man, these guys, they live on respect. Am I right or wrong? Because they understand at any time this thing can go sideways. You know, so you don't see two real men who really understand what being a man is about. I mean, other than stupid guys with alcohol and all that, but basically two men, we're going to respect each other because when it escalates, it can really get bad. And you know, you can win and still lose. You can still win and go away from there in the ambulance or the morgue wagon, you know.
That was one of my things, Walt, that you said that when I was in corrections, and I know Rob was just talking about that, having that respect for the person. Like, I'm gonna respect you, you respect me, and we can get through. And when you're, you know, as a correction officer, excuse me, as a correction officer, like I would tell them all the time, you was a man when you came in, you're gonna be a man when you go out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna treat you like a man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell them go to their hole. I didn't talk to them like they were less than people because they were real human beings. They just, whatever they did, they're doing their time. It's not for me. I wasn't the judge or the jury. So I didn't put you here. You know, whatever happened, I'm just here doing my job. But my big thing was, like you say, Rob, saying you want to go home. I'm going to get home. I want to go home safely. I know that they're not going to be able to walk out like I'm going to walk out.
Right.
But I didn't take, and that was the hardest part where we're talking about needing that 5 minutes and 10 minutes, because I didn't take what I saw in the time I was on duty home. I would never take that home because I've seen a lot of stuff. And I'm like, my family don't need to know that stuff. They don't need to know what goes on behind the prison doors and all of that stuff. I'm gonna bring you rainbows and butterflies. I'm not. You don't need to know the stuff that like what Jack Nixon saying. Few good men. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Yeah,
it's real. It is really real when you like. You know, I need you to tell me. Like, you don't need to know that stuff. There's no reason for you to know that stuff because then you'll be worried about me every time I go to work. Every time, if you knew what I face every day.
Yeah,
you'll be worried because what you don't know, you're just thinking, you know what I tell you, you know what I'm giving you, but that still makes us as men bottle a lot of stuff up.
Yeah,
because the person that you want to share everything with, it's like I don't even want to put all that on you, so you don't put it on your spouse. So it's good to have, I guess, groups of people that you can talk to that can help you get that off your chest. So
that goes into having a tribe, right? Like that's why we need to have more conversations like this. More men need to talk about things like this. Like there's this, new like lone wolf theory, and guess what? It doesn't work. Like there's nothing wrong with confiding in men. As we were on this earth, we were tribes. We were together. We were hunting together. We were raising families together. So we have to get back to that. You have to have a few good men that you can count on. And I have friends, and my friends know that they can call me at 3 a.m. and like, dude, I'm not okay. And I'll talk them through it if I have to, or if something bad happened and I had to fly out. Like, you have to have those guys in your corner that no matter what, they're going to back you because they know you're a good man. They know you're a good person and they want to see you win.
So Rob, I'm sorry. Well, Rob, how do we get in touch with you? How do we get in touch with you? Find out about your business and all that if we want to. What's the site or?
Yeah, so right now my biggest social media is Instagram, and that's at Battle Harder Strength Coaching. Battle Harder Strength Coaching. My website is battleharder.com. And I'm literally, I think, on every social media at battleharder. So LinkedIn, TikTok, all that stuff. So, and my podcast is the Battle Harder podcast.
All right. So how long have you been doing the podcast thing? I just want to, as a podcaster to a podcaster, how long you been doing this?
I've been in this just over a year. What was funny for me when I was that angry guy, right? I started a podcast so I could rant and rave about things. So there's a lot of earlier episodes of me saying, I hate when kids are at a dinner table on tablets, and I hate when people drive like this. But what happened, I had one guy that was like, man, I kind of like what you're talking about. Could I be a guest? And after he became a guest, I was like, I like this. I don't have to talk as much, right? So I have guests. So every Tuesday I release an episode with my guest, and then every Thursday I do a little quick hit solo episode talking about mindset or discipline or something. So just about a year.
All right.
So we are not going. Are we going to just sit here and act like we don't see these action figures behind him? Is that what we're going to do?
That's his tribe.
I mean, that's his tribe, man. We're gonna act like we're not even going, and I'm not even. So I don't know the difference between Marvel and DC. So I'm glad you moved out of the way, because I was about to say something stupid. So tell us about your figurines here, man.
So I consider myself a big kid, and I really think there's something beautiful in being able to have, a childlike, I guess, attitude towards life. And this is the room, obviously, where I do my podcast, I do my work, I play video games with my 14-year-old son. We watch movies, hang out in here. So this is kind of like the man cave media room. But for me, comic books, and even bigger than comic books, if you guys could see my living room, I have like Star Wars galore down there. I even have full sleeve Star Wars tat.
Oh, wow.
It just reminds me of my childhood. It's the happiest moments of my childhood. So when I can come in this room and see these wonderful things, it's calming, it's peaceful, and it's very happy time for me, where I'm like, man, these were like some of the best times of my life. So
cool.
Wow, that's cool. That is cool. I'm a toss between both. I like some characters from DC and some characters from Marvel. So
yeah, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. So in my son's room, there is a bunch of DC stuff. I'm just a nerd, bro. I'm just a big kid, big nerd. I love comics in general. I've always been kind of artistic. I used to draw comic book characters. I collect the comics, read them and stuff. So it's just that world that I truly enjoy.
You ever make what's that, Comic Con?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My wife, we go to Renaissance Fair, we dress up, we go to like pirate convention, Renaissance fairs and dress up, comic book convention. Yeah, like we just have fun.
Cool. All right.
So you took off the uniform, military, federal police, civilian police uniforms, and then you started dressing up as pirates and
Vikings and warriors and
my man.
Really, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's pretty cool.
It makes for a good date night if nothing else, right, Coach Rob?
Yeah.
So now,
look, if I need something to watch, right, I can always find a Star Wars or Marvel movie to watch if I'm bored, right?
There you go, my man.
So now, Rob, being a former military, that's a question I ask. I got 4 boys. So do you encourage, or you're encouraging as far as going into the military or walking your path?
If they talk to someone that's been through it, yes. Someone that's been in there, either they retired or like me, been 10 years, or they want to reach out to someone. My biggest mistake is I went into that recruiter alone, not knowing anything, not knowing anybody. And I did get kind of screwed on everything going in. So I have 2 older kids. I have a 25-year-old son and a 26-year-old daughter. I would love, even in the state of this world, I would love my 26-year-old son to go in the military, because I think, just like me, that's the push he kind of needs to learn how to be a man, who he is. So look, the military gave me a lot of bad, but it gave me more good. Okay. Right. I was very lost. I didn't feel like I had a purpose. I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. And the military actually did make me a man, regardless of the bad stuff. It gave me the honor, courage, commitment. That's the Navy core values. I live by those every day. It allowed me to see some beautiful, places. I lived in Japan for 3 years. So you have to take the good and bad and kind of do the pros and cons. And there was more good than bad. So yes, I am still pro-military. I think someone can, hell, I'm in school right now, getting paid to go to school because I'm a veteran and I serve my country.
Right.
There's just so much benefits that you don't have to go in and do 20. You could go do a 4-year contract, get your college degree and bounce, So yes, I am pro-military.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that. And even like I say, with even the state we're in now, if I could do it again, I would go Air Force. I wouldn't have went Army, but that's just me. But at the same time, I have received a whole lot of benefits on the plus side, way more than the negative. And and every day, I'm proud to say I'm a veteran. That's one thing. I'm proud to say I've served my country. I'm proud to say I've put on a uniform. It wasn't all bad, but you don't go in there, and I'm telling anyone that's watching this and you got a kid and you're promoting them to go and you want them to go, don't go in so that they can get college. Don't go in so they can those are just benefits that come out of that. Right. You have to know that once you put your name on that line
you
raise your hand and take that oath, you could be standing in somebody's country fighting for whatever. And because of that, that's not your mindset. Has to be that I'm joining this with the mindset that I might have to fight. It's not about, well, I just came for the college. If you want to go to college, you go to college.
Right.
You join the military with the idea that you might have to fight. And that's my, little soapbox moment that I don't, because that bothers me when I hear people say that, because that is a benefit. I mean, I was able to purchase my house. I was able to get my degree. I was all these things that I got because of the military. But at the same time,
you were that soldier first.
When they gave me that orders and said, you're going here, or when they called me on the phone and said, it's whatever alert, and we're on an airplane going somewhere, you just went.
Yeah. And, not talking politics because we won't, but that's, I still have that, I love America and I will, support the president and support people the best I can and hope and pray that they have our best interest for us. But that's why I decided to serve, because I do believe in America and I do believe in all this freedom and these things that we get to, have that other countries don't.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate you for not talking politics. Anybody know the show? We don't get caught up in that, but no matter who is in office, the mission was still always the same.
You don't go in the military because you don't love your country. That's for sure.
100%. Yeah, and like I say, we talked, we was behind the scenes saying it, but a lot of people did only have that option: go to jail or go to the military, whatever. But
but let's face it, some didn't make it, but some made themselves very powerful, better people because of it.
Because of that, 100%. So thank you for fixing that, because I couldn't even get the words out.
I got you, bro.
Yeah, I can tell. I see that.
He's a professional, man.
Man, that's it. That's right.
He does this for real, Jack.
Over there.
Yeah, look, man, he does this for real, man.
I know it is. Look, I know he does.
Yeah, he does this for real.
Look, man. Rob, man, it's hard to believe, man. It's been a whole hour, and you have been a wonderful guest on the show. We thank you for hanging out with us on the Sharpening Iron show. If you first time coming in and this is the first time watching, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tune back in for more and more shows like this one. We'll definitely talk with Rob backstage once we close out. And hopefully we'll see him on some of the other spinoffs that we got in the universe. But until then, we're going to ask you to stay sharp. Take care of yourself. But before I go, I'm sorry. Rob, you got anything you want to say to anybody out there? So go ahead and give your spiel.
Just lead with love. That's all I'm going to leave you with. Like, no matter who you are in your life, as a man, woman, whatever, lead with love and you can dang near accomplish anything.
There it is.
Wow. That's powerful right there. I couldn't even follow that up. So let's close out. Walt,
Coach Rob. Coach Rob, thank you, sir.
Right.
Pleasure meeting
Coach Rob,
you.
stay back for us for a second and we'll talk to you after. Until then, we'll talk to you next week. Peace. Stay sharp and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right.